Good morning, everyone. Welcome to NRBP's Annual Transportation Awards Program. I'm Barbara Kaufman, Executive Vice President and COO at Newark Regional Business Partnership. I'm delighted to welcome you all today for this event, which was postponed from May with the hope that we would be able to be together by November. In the spring, it really looked promising that by fall we would be able to be meeting again, but it's turned out that that's not possible, and we think going even into 2021 we're going to be continuing to meet virtually. We always like to look at the upside of things, and one of those is that we find that there are people who never could join us that are able to join us, so we welcome those people this morning, in addition to our loyal attendees. During the pandemic, there have been so many businesses that are negatively affected, and we have all of those in mind today, as well as the dedicated and hardworking essential workers who, for today's purpose, we want to just pay special honor to those behind the scenes who are keeping our transportation systems running, whether it's the roads, the rails, the seaport, the airport, any mode of transportation, freight. We're just very grateful that they're there and they're on the line and they're doing their work. We found that during the pandemic, it's particularly important for NRBP to continue our work, connecting, advocating, informing, and helping to revitalize the city of Newark. Certainly for that last bullet, there's no other time that I've observed in the time I've been in Newark than the need is greater than it is now. Before I go into today's program, I want to encourage all of you to join us on December 9th. We have a very special virtual event planned. We will be combining the dinner that we had hoped to have in March when we were going to honor Mayor Baraka and Barry Ostrowski, the CEO of RWJ Barnabas Health, and that will happen on December 9th. And immediately following that, we will go into our virtual holiday event. Many of you know that our holiday event is a time when we've invited members to come and celebrate with us at a reception. And that's also the time when we do our annual meeting, and that's a vote for our board of directors. And we have some wonderful incoming directors. That will be fairly brief, and then we'll move into a choice of three networking experiences. It should be fun, as well as a chance to do some networking and connecting. So please watch for your emails, go to our website, and sign up for December 9th. Today's event is a chance to honor the career professionals who are behind the scenes making projects happen. It's always a great pleasure to be part of this event. We rely on our Transportation Council to help us to identify those of you, including the wonderful group that's being honored today, for your work at the agencies. You work very, very hard every day to be able to make things happen, and all of us are very grateful for your work, and we're delighted to have the chance to honor you. Over the years, we've recognized many, many people, and we're glad to be able to have that list grow. Programs such as this would not be possible without our sponsors, and I'm going to name the event sponsors and then ask Scott Beresford on behalf of our series sponsor to thank us for TD Bank. The sponsors, the breakfast sponsors, if we were all having breakfast together, Dewberry, Easy Ride, Gannett Fleming, HNTB, In Group, United Airlines, ZHB, and WSP USA. Thank you to all of those organizations, as well as our supporting organization, Regional Plan Association, and our media sponsor, NJ Advanced Media. We're very, very grateful to TD Bank for all that they do for us, and also for all they do in the city of Newark. A very, very generous corporate citizen. Scott, if you would give us some very brief comments. We're not hearing you, Scott. While Scott is working to get his microphone turned on, I want to mention that traditionally we would have done a transportation symposium in November on this date. And our plan in 2021 is to return to that and to be able to have two events, the awards in May and the symposium in November. Scott, have we had any luck yet?
Barbara, this is Maya. I'm trying to unmute Scott now. Scott, if you can hear me, I'm sending you an unmute request, and that should bring a box on your screen.
Okay. To keep things moving, perhaps what we should do is turn to Bernie, and what I'm going to do is I will turn off my camera and my microphone. I will be available to all of you if there's anything that all of the presenters and speakers need, as is Maya, who's handling the logistics. And I will just say again to our audience, thank you all for supporting NRBP through the year and for being with us today. We're very, very happy that we have this opportunity to connect virtually, and we're so looking forward to the time when we can come together again and serve you. We're here to help you every day, and we really encourage you to reach out to us for anything you may need. With that, a great thank you to Bernie McNeely, who heads our Transportation Council. And Bernie, I will let you take it from here.
Great. Thank you, Barbara, and thank you for everything you do leading us with NRBP. Happy Monday, everyone. And in advance, I'd like to just wish everybody a safe and healthy Thanksgiving holiday season, even if it's going to be in small and smaller settings than we're all used to this day and age. But let's get into the program if we can. As Barbara noted, each year we have a great opportunity to honor our leaders in the transportation industry, and in recognition of some of the unique assets that we have in and around the Newark area, and what makes Newark an outstanding business location. So each year, the NRBP's Transportation Council assists the overall board in creating two signature programs that Barbara had mentioned, today's event and typically at the Transportation Symposium in November. But because of the COVID pandemic that we're grappling through, we've delayed the awards ceremony and we're holding it today in lieu of the annual symposium. So like Barbara mentioned, we're hoping to get back to two events again in 2021, and we're certainly looking forward to it. If we were together, I would have certainly have liked to recognize and acknowledge all of our volunteers that helped make things happen on the Transportation Council. And although they won't be able to be seen, they are certainly appreciated for all that they do to help make the Transportation Council vibrant and active in and around the greater Newark area. And in addition to the events that I've mentioned that the Transportation Council handles, we also look at having a priority project agenda list that we recommend to the overall board, and we're looking to reconvene that effort relatively shortly to help prioritize transportation initiatives within and around the region, and our advocacy efforts associated with that in light of some of the financial distress that we're all trying to work through and get to a next phase. So given that, I'd like to now begin the awards presentation for all of our award leaders, and the first award presenter will be Ray Dominguez. Ray?
Thank you, Bernie. Rizwan Baig is the Chief Engineer and Transportation Technology Program Manager of the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey. Rizwan has many accomplishments over his distinguished career, establishing efficiencies, instituting new practices, modernizing functions, team building, and implementing new technology. Just to name a few of the highlights of his accomplishments, he led a diverse team to deliver critical elements of complex engineering services on several mega agency capital programs across departments. He acts as an ambassador for the Port Authority, forging alliances with New York and New Jersey transportation agencies to advance and ensure the success of critical projects and major initiatives across the region. He implemented the agency-wide transportation management system, the first enterprise platform to modernize system-wide management of transportation technology assets. He spearheaded the Port Authority's ITS strategic plan and created the Agency Operations Center, which plays a key role in monitoring mobility in the region. He established the Port Authority's Strategic Traffic Safety Improvement Program, which has reduced motor vehicle crashes across the agency by 25%. Personally, I've had the opportunity to work with Rizwan and support him as part of his staff on a number of critical projects and initiatives for 2 years. I was lucky to have him as a mentor, and I honestly can say he's helped raise the bar in my career as he's done so for many others. He continues to be an innovator and forward thinker for the industry that for sure plays a key role in supporting the authority and moving forward, keeping the agency ahead of the curve and facilitating their continued success. With that said, Dewberry and the NRBP are pleased to present a 2020 Transportation Leadership Award to Rizwan Baig. Congratulations, Rizwan.
Thank you. Thank you, Ray. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, if I may, I would like to congratulate to all the award recipients, and thank you, NRBP. And thank you, Commissioner Scaccetti, for her leadership, for her progressive leadership. I'm definitely her big fan, and I owe definitely a huge gratitude to City of Newark for providing me and my colleagues home at the Gateway Centers post 9/11, where we really enjoyed our stay over 10 years. And my special relationship with Newark on a personal level has to do with my wife being a medical resident and then a physician in Newark, and a frontline worker. And most importantly, thank you to City of Newark for providing my son with quality early education and then undergraduate education in NJIT. I'm grateful to my agency leadership for holding the Port Authority family together during this once in 100-year fiscal tsunami that we are all facing. And as we enter this holiday season, please don't forget many of our family members, friends, and neighbors are suffering, and some of them given an impossible choice between their physical and financial health. Let's do our part to help them. Thank you. Thank you all.
Terrific. Congratulations, Rizwan, and thank you very much, Ray. Our next award will be presented by Andy Pelori. He's the New Jersey Area Manager for WSP USA. Andy?
Morning, Bernie. Can you guys hear me okay? Excellent. Thank you very much. What a esteemed panel of folks who are getting awards today. Congratulations to each and every one of you, especially Rizwan and Lisa that I worked with very closely. It's really an honor and a privilege for me to introduce Assemblyman Dan Benson, whom I have known for a good 15 years, both as a legislator as well as a good family friend. I'm really honored today for having this opportunity. Mr. Benson, Assemblyman Benson started as a councilman in Hamilton Township, and then he served as the freeholder, I think, in Mercer County before taking over the 14th legislative district. In my opinion, probably the best district in the state of New Jersey, and he's leading it since. Right now, he's serving as the Transportation and Independent Authorities Committee chairperson. Assemblyman Benson, I'm so used to calling him Dan. I apologize, Assemblyman, if I say that. But you sponsored over 150 bills, primarily on the transportation, planning, economic development, and school, and which is near and dear to my heart. Especially creating a sponsorship, a law establishing the Gateway Development Commission, and right now the Assemblyman is working on the extension of Path to EWR, a key economic engine for the city of Newark and the surrounding areas. Although he received a bachelor's from Georgetown University, his master's in public policy comes from neighboring Rutgers. So he supports the Scarlet Knights very much, I think. What sets Assemblyman apart from other legislators, in my honest opinion, is his availability to reach out and create a dialogue. He does not make policies and legislations based on vacuum. He actually asks the questions of people. He confides in local officials and the stakeholders and get their input to make sure that with the legislation that he's putting together is really sound, and it really helps everybody involved in getting that legislation done. So I thank you, Assemblyman, for your leadership, and I can't think of a better leader to lead our Transportation Assembly Committee. On behalf of WSP and NRBP, we're pleased to present the 2020 Transportation Leadership Award to Assemblyman and the true champion of transportation, Daniel R. Benson. Take it away, Dan. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Andy, and I want to thank everyone on the webinar, and particularly congratulations to the fellow awardees. Want to thank my partner in transportation policy and longtime leader, Commissioner Diane Gutierrez-Scaccetti. Really, that's what it's all about here in New Jersey. We succeed through the partnerships that we develop. As Andy said, I believe we don't make policy in a vacuum, but it's our job to try to keep things moving and keep progress in motion as we go in New Jersey, whether that's rebuilding a New Jersey transit system, which obviously becomes very difficult in a pandemic, but making sure those investments are there at the state level, making sure that policy leaders understand at a local level how important transportation assets are, not only for moving people around, but for keeping the economy going. And as an economic engine, we've done a lot of legislation surrounding local investment, whether it's rebuilding the stations and making sure that there's opportunities to redevelop land around those stations. The Gateway project, there's nothing more important to the success of New Jersey long-term and the region, particularly as we get back to whatever, and I know everyone hates this phrase, of the new normal post-pandemic, but that day will come and we have to plan now. And then obviously important looking long-term, and I know most politicians and legislators probably don't think about that, but I'm always believe that we have to always think long-term, and we have to continue to support our Transportation Trust Fund and manage that carefully. And again, thanks to the leadership of the DOT Commissioner in doing that. We have to continue to make sure that that is funded long after the current 8-year program is done. I believe strongly in transportation equity. So regardless of your background, your ability, your age, or income, that you need to be able to get from point A to point B. New Jersey is probably the best laboratory to make that a success, given all the different assets we have of location, education, and the diverse workforce that we have. So again, I want to thank Newark Regional Business Partnership for this award. I want to thank them for their partnership as we develop policies. I look forward to a stellar 2021 where we continue to make New Jersey a leader in transportation infrastructure and support systems throughout the country. Thank you so much.
Well, congratulations, Assemblyman, and thank you, Andy. So for our next award presentation, I'd like to turn to Marlene Bauer, who's the president of InGroup. Marlene?
Thank you, Bernie, and good morning. It's an honor to introduce Patrick Bonner, Jr. He began his career with the Port Authority more than 35 years ago in the accountant training program, during which he developed an interest in the aviation industry. Since joining aviation in the early 90s, he has served in various capacities at Teterboro Airport and Newark Liberty International Airport's Terminal B. And he's currently the manager of Landside Operations and Customer Service at EWR. He manages a team that oversees all airport ground transportation and parking operations, as well as the airport's customer experience program. He managed EWR's preparation and execution of its ground transportation plan for the New York, New Jersey Super Bowl and temporary passenger transportation operation during a 60-day maintenance shutdown of AirTrain Newark. And he coordinated the plans for the arrival of the U.S. women's national soccer team after its victory in the 2019 FIFA Women's World Cup. InGroup and NRBP are pleased to present a 2020 Transportation Leadership Award to Patrick Bonner. On behalf of everyone that has had the pleasure of working with you, I toast you with Donut Shop, fully caffeinated. Congratulations, Patrick.
Honestly, it's a little humbling. For those of you that know me, know that I'm not here for public recognition. I do what I do because I really love this agency. It's especially gratifying, especially for this award, when you consider that I'm being recognized with fellow Port Authority past staff, Thorell, Huntley, and Rizwan, because it's folks like that and that really make this agency run. You know, over the years, I'd like to be able to accept this award on behalf of myself, but really this award represents not only what I've been successful in doing in my career at the Port Authority, but really what Port Authority staff have been successful at. A number of years ago, I had the pleasure of escorting the chairman of the Port Authority, Kevin O'Toole, from one place to another on the airport, and in that brief interaction, he asked me, why did I stay with the Port Authority? Because at the time, I had been with the agency for about 33 years. And, one of the things I mentioned to him, among others, was the people. It's really the people of this agency that continues to make it move forward. And so I've been blessed through the years, whether it be coworkers, folks that I work with or have worked for me, or folks that I've worked for, a number of mentors over the years to make me successful. But ultimately, this is sort of a team award for everyone in this agency that's done things to be able to keep this agency moving forward. So on behalf of them, myself and them, I'd like to say thank you to the Newark Regional Business Partnership. And again, congratulations to all our fellow honorees. Thank you.
Well, congratulations, Patrick, and thank you very much, Marlene. Our next presenter is going to be Lisa DiTerrante. She's the Northeast Director for Transit and Rail for VHB. Lisa, the floor is yours.
It has a huge I'll start over. As a chief planner at New Jersey Transit, Jeremy Colangelo-Bryan has a huge role overseeing several functional units, including planning, forecasting, research, geographic information systems, and local programs and community mobility. In his capacity, he is engaged in a multifaceted effort to deliver improved transit mobility services in the context of market demand, land use development, and customer preference. His proudest professional achievements are whenever he and his team are able to implement an improvement for customers as an outcome of a planning project. I have known Jeremy for more than 15 years, and his commitment to New Jersey Transit's customers is exceptional. He delivers and directs a wide range of modal transportation and funding strategies and continues to advance innovative local mobility solutions and enhanced research and analytical tools to support planning initiatives. He has managed and directed several efforts to address the Trans-Hudson transit capacity problem. Jeremy is a truly gifted planner and manager. He is incredibly giving of his time and support to not only his extensive team, but to others within New Jersey Transit and throughout the industry. He is an outstanding leader and a genuine and caring colleague. On behalf of VHB and NRBP, I am thrilled to present the 2020 Leadership Award to Jeremy Colangelo-Bryan. Congratulations, Jeremy.
Thank you very much.
Beautiful.
Lisa, thank you. Thank you, Lisa, and thank you. And it's good to see so many friendly, familiar faces, unfortunately, in little boxes on the screen rather than in person, but hopefully that'll change soon. Look, obviously, this has been a really difficult time. A lot of folks are really, pulling very hard to try to continue to deliver service. Obviously, in the Newark area, we continue to see lots of folks on our buses. Since March, we've been working to make sure that, on a daily basis, we do what we can to provide enough service to give people the opportunity to do some distancing, feel comfortable on buses. You've seen just recently, we're continuing to really encourage folks to act responsibly, wear masks, be considerate of their fellow passengers. And, my hope is we continue to sort of push those efforts forward, and we can, see some folks starting to feel a little more comfortable on the service. We're doing a lot behind the scenes to try to keep people comfortable, and looking forward, we are continuing to do a number of projects. I won't use the term new normal either, but we do look towards the end of this, hopefully, within several months' time. And we're right now, for example, we're engaged in a very baby steps, but the first part of a system redesign for the bus network in Newark, and a lot of you folks will be engaged with us as we get into that work. We're continuing to push that forward. That was something that we were planning, obviously, pre-COVID, and we're continuing to work on that. That's the first phase. Ultimately, we look to cover the state with a comprehensive redesign of the bus network. Obviously, folks have mentioned Gateway today. We're heavily engaged in that. I see some friends from the Port Authority here. We're heavily engaged on exercises with Clarell and her team at PATH, certainly, but also on potential replacement for the bus terminal. So we are pushing forward on a whole bunch of different levels. And COVID has thrown us a curveball, but it's also provided some opportunities. So we have a really great partnership, I'd say, with our sister agencies from Connecticut on down to Pennsylvania, where we meet pretty frequently. We engage in a lot of good dialogue there. Kind of broken down some barriers, actually, just as everyone's been trying to get their arms around what this means for all of us. So, we do try to take a little bit of a silver lining where we can. Again, hopefully we'll all be together in person sometime soon. Really appreciate this. I take this really as a reflection on the work of the team, certainly not just on myself, and I hope to see you all soon. So thanks very much. Take care.
Well done. Thank you, Lisa, and congratulations once again, Jeremy. So now just to move on, Alexa Gangemi, who's our Associate Vice President and a Senior PM at HNTB, she will be presenting our next award. Alexa?
Good morning. Thanks, Bernie. It's wonderful to see you all this morning, and I'm very excited to be introducing Clarell DeGraff, who is the Director and General Manager of the PATH Rail Transit System, where she is responsible for carrying out PATH's critical mission of moving people across the Hudson safely and effectively. With the help of over 1,200 employees, she oversees the daily operation of the railroad, as well as the department's ambitious capital program to upgrade the legacy system. Clarell has spearheaded PATH's improvement plan, which was rolled out in June of 2019 and is aimed at system capacity growth, reliability, and an enhanced customer experience. Clarell has served at the Port Authority for 30 years, previously as the Deputy Director of Rail Transit since 2015. Clarell also oversaw PATH's $3.5 billion capital program and was responsible for the development, funding, and delivery of PATH's Sandy Recovery Program. She's held project management roles in World Trade Center construction and the Priority Capital Programs Department, and she was a driving force in delivering major projects, including the Vehicle Security Center and several packages in the redevelopment of the World Trade Center Transportation Hub. So on behalf of HNTB and NRBP, it is my absolute honor and pleasure to present a 2020 Transportation Leadership Award to Clarel DeGraff. Congratulations, Clarel.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Alexa. And here's my beautiful award. Thank you. Thank you so much. And, you know, I just really have to echo a lot of my colleagues on here, you know, Jeremy, Patrick, and so many of you. You know, this has been a difficult year. And so that's why this leadership award means, you know, more than ever. But as we all know, I think as Jeremy stated, it's not about us. It's really about our team that has really pulled together to be able to deliver service and keep people safe, you know, at the same time. It's been the best of times. It's been the worst of times. The best of times because we've seen people at their best, people striving and driving, great partnership, good partnerships that have become even greater, you know, with New Jersey Transit, MTA, with our consultants that just threw themselves in, you know, like VHB, HNTB, what can we do? Where do you need us? Very instrumental. And those are moments in time when you need the influencers and people that really care about the #1 issue at this time, which was safety, right? It was safety of the people, safety of our staff, right? How many of us here watched some of our staff suffer with the virus? And then on top of that, we had to deal with protests, right? So this was a very difficult, challenging year. But so this leadership award for this year speaks volumes, not just to the people that are on this panel, but it speaks to our teams that rose to the occasion and delivered. You know, as Patrick said, it's what the Port Authority does. It's the agency. Great leadership by our Executive Director, Rick Cotton, and Chairman Kevin O'Toole. Fantastic leadership, but also great partnership and watching the other agencies lead as well. New Jersey Transit, MTA, just phenomenal. Everybody wanted to find out what's the best thing we could do in order to keep this region safe. And, you know, we're accomplishing it day by day. And I'm excited to see as we continue coming out of this pandemic, as we just continue taking what we've learned during this pause, this year of pause, what have we learned? What works? What doesn't work? And continue taking it to the next level. So again, I thank you. Thank you, Alexa. Thank you, HNTB, VHB, all the partners, and you know, this agency, just to really, really thank you for this award. Thank you.
Well, terrific. Well, thank you, Alexa. And once again, congratulations, Clarel. Moving to our next award, our next presenter is going to be Robert Matthews. He's the Vice President and the Northeast Transportation Business Line Leader for Gannett Fleming. Robert, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Bernie. And thank you to all the awardees today. Well deserved. The importance of the New Jersey Turnpike Authority to the greater Newark region in terms of efficiently moving people and goods throughout the area is well understood by NRBP. The authority's vision is to be the premier toll agency in the United States, and some would argue that they already are. That's due in no small part to talented, dedicated employees that share that vision, like Lisa Navarro. Lisa is a supervising engineer of planning and facilities at the authority. She's been working for over 20 years. She worked first in the private sector for a few years and then has been at the authority since 2004. She was a program manager for the authority's $500 million facilities improvement program. And while serving as the deputy program manager, she successfully delivered the design of the New Jersey Turnpike Interchange 6 to 9 widening program on time and within budget. She also successfully delivered the final design of Interchange 14A improvements on time and within budget, also another complex project. She is particularly proud that she's been afforded the opportunity to take a leadership role in the civil engineering industry as a woman. She strives to be a role model, and she's supportive of her colleagues and other professional engineers in the industry. I know she's a real role model for me too. So on behalf of Gannett Fleming and NRBP, I'm pleased to present a 2020 Transportation Leadership Award to Lisa Navarro. Thanks, Lisa. Congratulations.
Hey, can you hear me now? The line of the year. I'd like to thank NRBP for this award. Truly honored, humbled to be in the presence of the other recipients. And it really means a lot to be recognized, and I do truly appreciate it. I've been fortunate to have many great bosses. When I started in the private sector, Jack Poland and Tony Folco provided me great technical experience. When I came over to the Turnpike Authority, I worked under John Keller and now Larry Williams, and I really owe a lot to all four of them through my career. I must especially thank John Keller, who believed in me, provided me inspiration and a great opportunity here at the Authority. And I just can't say enough for his vision of what I could do and what we could all do together. As a coach for my 8-year-old daughter's soccer team, I stress hard work and teamwork. And similarly at the Turnpike Authority, the professionals that we have at the Authority are some of the most intelligent, hardworking, dedicated professionals in the industry. And what we get to accomplish together is unbelievable, really, with the limited staff that we have. We're recently concluding our previous capital improvement program, and with the leadership of our executive level as well as our chief engineers, we've been able to deliver that. We look forward to the next capital improvement program. Personally, for me, I'm excited to work on the preliminary engineering of the Newark Bay Hudson County extension, which I know will greatly improve mobility to Newark. And I'm just so pleased that I've been blessed with such a great career and so many great opportunities. And again, the team that we're able to work with, which is really what has gotten me here, and not just at the Turnpike, but also the consulting community. For those that tell me what I need to hear when I need to hear it, for their expertise, and for just everyone coming together as a team and making mobility in New Jersey better for our patrons. And again, I'm just really very thankful for this award. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, congratulations again, Lisa, and thank you very much, Robert. So now we're going to switch gears a little bit from our leadership awards to our Lifetime Achievement Award. And this is a special category for the NRBP. And I think many of our past recipients would say that their career is not over on a Lifetime Achievement Award. And I think that's also the case with this year's awardee, Mary Ameen. So to present this award to Mary, I'd like to have the floor go to Krishna.
Thank you, Bernie. Let me start by saying I'm thrilled to be here because I couldn't have a better audience who could really understand and appreciate Mary's accomplishments. So Mary has stellar credentials. At a time when less than 6% of engineers and less than 8% of engineers, 8% of attorneys were women, she was both an engineer and an attorney, kind of that lethal combination of mathematics and tactics. Okay. And additionally, she has a master's in civil engineering and a second master's in management. Mary has broken many glass ceilings. More than 30 years ago, she served as the assistant chief engineer at the Garden State Parkway, and that's where I first got to meet her. And as the assistant chief engineer, she oversaw the largest widening and interchange reconstruction program in the history of the Garden State Parkway, and that's 30 years ago. And in 2003, after the merger with the Turnpike, She served as the Director for Strategic Transportation Policy and Planning. And a few years later, she joined the NJTPA, which, as all of you probably know, is the largest MPO in the state, in the country. Right? And she has had a number of positions. She has served as the Director for External Affairs, as the Deputy Executive Director, and currently serves as the Executive Director of the NJTPA, where she oversees expenditures of $2 billion with a B in federal transportation funds for the 13-county NJTPA region. So beyond the degrees and the titles, kind of what's even more impressive are two things that are not on her resume. The first is her independence. Mary has no hesitation asking you difficult questions, and I know that because I've been at the receiving end trying to find answers for those difficult questions when she was on my board. But the result was something terrific, and that was you had a thoroughly vetted solution that could pass every test. I'm really grateful to her for asking all those difficult questions. It wasn't very comfortable at that time, but on hindsight, I think it was the best thing that could have happened. The second is her generosity. Mary is very, very generous. And I think even the members of the Transportation Council at NRBP will vouch for that. At least on two prior occasions, she has stepped aside to let a board member from the NJTPA be recognized for this award instead of her. So Mary, congratulations on your achievements. Thank you for your contributions. And on behalf of Easy Ride and NRBP, it is my great pleasure and privilege to present you with the richly deserved, long overdue 2020 Lifetime Achievement Award. Mary.
Thank you so much, Krishna. And thank you to the NRBP for today's event and for nominating me for this Lifetime Achievement Award, which I'll hold up and show you. Bernie, Barbara, Chip, Maya, great job, everyone. I'm especially proud of the organization that is hosting this event today. Although NRBP is committed to advancing business interests in Newark and its environs, it also has a wider geographical reach, and the net impact is to strengthen the entire community. Their transportation focus and today's event highlights the importance that a good transportation system adds to the stability and viability of any community. Our North Jersey MPO region, which by the way we're only the 5th largest, not the largest MPO in the country. Using Newark as its nerve center, we encompass more than half of New Jersey's footprint and 3/4 of its population. And we're committed to making wise transportation investments to assure a good quality of life for future generations. So with this common cause that my organization shares with the NRBP, it's especially meaningful to get this award. And to get this recognition in 2020 means learning to lead and to live through crisis. We're still, I think if you're anything like me, we're all still trying to make sense of this. What's happening around us, hoping to capitalize on the good and minimizing the bad. And what have we learned? I think we've learned resilience, we've learned perseverance, and also we've learned some other things. We've become much more aware of things like structural racism and inequality, the need for equity in transportation, which we've heard before, climate and clean energy, and incorporating all these considerations into the NJTPA's upcoming long-range plan. We're using virtual outreach, staying connected in a remote environment, and basically learning to keep things in perspective. We've gotten a really strong dose this year of learning to discern what's important from what maybe really isn't. So where are we now? Well, I'd like to say that we're showing some optimism, but that's got to be tempered with patience and common sense. Yes, there's vaccine on the horizon, and new presidential leadership, but we've got a lot to get through, especially in the coming weeks and months. So let's just keep our fingers crossed and stay optimistic. And one last thing I'll say about today's award, and it's been said already, but nobody can do this alone. There is so much gratitude I have, family support and opportunities, education, mentors, people who saw potential, and of course my family and children that I owe a great deal of gratitude to. And I'd also like to send out a posthumous thank you to a special few. First, my husband Ramsey, my biggest fan, plus Joe Carragher, Judy Stanley, and Jack Coleman from my earlier days. So many organizations also to thank: the Parkway, the Turnpike Authority, the I-95 Coalition, ITS New Jersey, Easy Ride, and many more. And of course, my new home and second career since 2006 is the NJTPA, where my relationship with NRBP began. A special thanks to Chip and to Barbara and to the entire membership and sponsors for being there and for supporting this important event. Also, just to bring it back to NJTPA for 1 minute, I have to say thank you to former chair Angel Estrada and current chair Kathy DiFilippo for all of their great leadership and mentorship. But it's the coworkers and the partners and the staff who go the extra mile and who aren't afraid to speak truth to power, who are the ones who truly make any leader's achievements possible. And I hope you know who you are. So with that, I thank everyone again, and I wish you all the best for the holiday season and looking forward to a great 2021. Thank you.
Terrific. Thank you. Well said, Mary. And thank you, Krishna, as well. Congratulations, Mary. So if we can just have another round of applause, the polite clap, please, for everybody, all our winners this morning. Thank you very much and congratulations. We do have an opportunity now to transition to our Transportation Person of the Year Award. And to present this award is a fellow board member of NRBP with me, and that's Monica Slater-Stokes. She's the Managing Director of Corporate and Government Affairs at United Airlines. Monica, take it away.
Thank you, Bernie. It's my pleasure to present this next award to an outstanding leader in aviation. He is a visionary and leads with a steady hand, and he is one of United's most important partners. Huntley A. Lawrence, a 35-year veteran of the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, became Director of Aviation in January 2017. He is responsible for managing one of the world's largest airport systems with revenues of $2.9 billion and a staff of over 1,500 aviation professionals. Prior to becoming director, Huntley served as Deputy Director of Aviation. Beginning his Port Authority career in airport operations, Huntley held positions of increasing responsibility at LaGuardia, Newark Liberty International, and JFK International Airports. He was responsible for the airside, security, and international facility units. Among Huntley's many achievements is his leadership to develop a $200 million security capital plan and coordinate security policy for the Port Authority's 5 airports. Huntley is also a national figure in aviation leadership. He serves on the Federal Aviation Administration's Management Advisory Council and the FAA's Next Gen Advisory Committee, is Vice Chairman of the American Association of Airport Executives, or AAAE's, Airport Legislative Alliance, sits on AAAE's Policy Review Committee, and is chair of the International Facilitation Subcommittee. Huntley is also a member of the boards of Airports Council International North America, the Wings Club Foundation, NYC and Company, and USL Metropolitan of New York. And here is something a number of you may not know. Huntley is also a licensed pilot. On behalf of United Airlines and NRBP, I'm delighted to present the Transportation Person of the Year Award to Huntley Lawrence. Congratulations, Huntley, well deserved.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Let me just make sure I share this with everyone. Thank you very much, Monica. And I want to thank everyone at NRBP, Bernie, Chip, and Barbara. Really, it's great to see all of you again. I really enjoyed my affiliation with NRBP when I sat on the board many years ago. Always focused on the right thing in trying to strengthen the city of Newark, and focused on transportation, just the right focus for an organization like NRBP. And I just think they do such a wonderful job. I want to recognize Commissioner Gutierrez-Scaccetti and my fellow honorees today, Assemblyman Benson, Mary Ameen, Lisa Navarro, Jeremy, Colangelo-Bryan, and most of all, my fellow Port Authority family members, Clarell, DeGraff, Rizwan Baig, and Patrick Bonner. I've worked closely with all three of them over the years, and certainly happy to share the screen with them today. Let me just say, like my colleagues from the Port Authority, there are a lot of people at the Port Authority Agency that make us who we are. We are a resilient group. We've survived through the 1993 bombing. We've survived through September 11th, the economic downturn of 2007, 2008, and we're dealing with the most significant, challenges that we have ever seen in our careers. And I have to say that there is no better group that I appreciate serving with than the men and women of the Port Authority and the individuals that we have in the aviation department. Look, it's no secret that our airports have grown old over time, and they're outdated over time. But I have to tell you that with the partnerships that we have with United and many other stakeholders that we have, we're rebuilding our airports to be better than ever. You see that happening at LaGuardia Airport with all the construction that's completed. And it's happening right down the street from many of us at Newark Liberty International Airport, where we're building a brand new terminal, $2.72 billion. And we're building a brand new consolidated rental car facility that's going to be state of the art and really help us get to that world-class level in terms of airports. That's really what the state of New Jersey deserves. And it's really what the city of Newark deserves, an outstanding facility that customers and the residents can be proud of. But most importantly, it's the partnership that we have with the community, an unprecedented level of partnership, whether it's business opportunities or employment opportunities at the airport. That's really what's going to be key for the future of our facilities, and specifically Newark Liberty International Airport. There are a lot of exciting things to come, and I think there are a lot of opportunities to come. And I think together with the many leaders that are with us today, whether it be at New Jersey Transit or any of the other transportation facilities, collectively, we are all focused on making transportation in New Jersey and the region strong. So I want to say thank you to everyone for all you're doing. And thank you for this special honor to be recognized as a 2020 Transportation Person of the Year. And please stay safe and have a blessed Thanksgiving and holiday season. And most importantly, let's continue to do the things that we're doing, not for the benefit of ourselves, but for the benefit of the people that serve this region. Thank you very much.
Terrific. Thank you, Huntley, and congratulations once again, and thank you, Monica, for your efforts. We're going to come closer to the end of our efforts, but we've saved the best for last. Our Transportation Commissioner is no stranger to the Newark Regional Business Partnership, but I'd like to give a little bit of background and a setting as far as our commissioner is concerned. Diane Gutierrez-Scaccetti was confirmed as our 19th commissioner for the New Jersey Department of Transportation and began in January of 2018. And she is a native New Jerseyan, and she's been a transportation professional for over 30 years, 36 of which she's been in various types of government service. And she's got an extensive background from both an executive operational planning and finance knowledge and capability. And before she returned to New Jersey, she was the commissioner had served as the executive director and CEO of the Florida Turnpike Enterprise, part of the Florida DOT system, as far as their toll road. And her before that experience, she spent 21 years with the New Jersey Turnpike Authority, and she was also the executive director between 2008 and 2010. She's an active member of the board of directors of AASHTO. She is currently the second vice president of IBTTA and the 2020 president of NASTO, the Northeast Association of the AASHTO organization, and an executive committee board member of the Transportation Research Board and the I-95 Corridor Coalition. And she serves as the chair of the coalition's Toll Violation Enforcement Reciprocity Task Force, and she was instrumental in implementing regional toll interoperability of SunPass in the Southeast US. Given all that as a background, that's things that she's going to be applying to the needs of New Jersey, and it's my pleasure to be able to turn the floor to our commissioner, Commissioner Diane Gutierrez-Scaccetti, for her remarks. Diane?
Bernie, thank you so much for that introduction. It was very kind. And I do so wish we could have been celebrating all of these accomplishments in person. And I know we will sooner rather than later. But everyone being honored here today has demonstrated leadership and dedication to making the transportation system in our state and our region one of the best in the world. Through your work, you have helped improve the quality of life for those who live and travel through New Jersey. But before I talk about what we're doing here at the DOT, listening this morning, I really have a few things that I think are in my heart to say. And first, I have to go to Rizwan. You brought up one of the most important things we can think about now as we go through this, to remember those of us not lucky enough to be sitting here on this screen, which means we are all gainfully employed and probably will be working the next couple of days to decide just how much stuffing we need to make, or how much gravy we're going to use, or how many roles we have to plan for one of our kids to eat. Cannot go unnoticed. And there's something about the transportation agencies, I think, that is special, and that is our reach. Because of our decentralized nature, we have a wonderful opportunity to help so many. I know at the Turnpike, in the years that I was there, we did food drives up and down the state where we helped many, many food banks. And just this weekend, Lisa and her colleagues at the New Jersey Turnpike Authority collected over 80,000 pounds of food that is on its way to food banks in New Jersey. It is an unprecedented time, not just from a pandemic and the science of a vaccine and how we do our work, but from our neighbors. People who maybe never suffered a loss of a job or a furlough, or really are struggling. And Rizwan, for you to raise that today, to me, shows the character of the person that you are, that you remember that. And so I'm very grateful for that. And I hope we all think about that. From the smallest thing you could do to the biggest thing you could do, it has the same value. If we don't learn, it's funny, I was talking to the colonel of the New Jersey State Police, and we were having this conversation. I said, you know, we always said we were going to lend a hand, but today we have to lend two, because so many of those who used to be able to now can't. So if you haven't figured it out, it's a passion of mine. There's no one in this country, for as far as I'm concerned, who should ever miss a meal. Not in this country. Just like there's no one in this country who shouldn't have some type of housing. But those are things that our transportation network is part of the foundational source of curing. And we have to always remind ourselves that it's bigger than asphalt and concrete and guide rail. We have a huge opportunity to do so much. And I give a lot of credit to my friend Mary Ameen, who I've known for many, many years. As we face changes in terms of the way we deal with diversity and inclusion and systemic racism, we can't deny that anymore. We can't pretend like it doesn't exist, because it does. And so we first admit it to ourselves, and then we help others come to terms with it, and then we make things better. And I'm trying to see where Huntley is. Oh, there he is. He turned himself off. Huntley, so proud of you. I read your bio. You're living your dream from when you were a child. And you should look at yourself in the mirror and know that you have earned every stripe that you have. And I am so proud to know that not only did you get this award, but you are part of the greater transportation family of this region. I can make all the remarks I want on great projects and what we're doing on 280 and what we're doing at the airport or what we're going to do at the port. Phenomenal stuff, phenomenal stuff. But it's the heart of the people that are winning awards today and being recognized that I care about. Because when you have that in your heart, then you only can do good work. I look at what Krishna's group does every day with their transit opportunities for those who perhaps can't get anywhere else. What would we do without Easy Ride? What would we do without organizations that provide that service? Not everybody has a family that supports them. And so when we look at this, when we put this together and we see what we do to change the world, to create connectivity, not just place to place, not just goods to ports or goods to warehouses, but look what Monica's team does at United Airlines and all the airlines. They're helping us get people where they need to be safely. I have to get on a plane in 2 weeks, and I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid because I know we are taking this seriously. Transportation is at the core of everything that happens. Jeremy and his team, they look forward for us. They could get stuck in the muck of 2020. I feel like 2020's lasted 5 years already. But Jeremy's team is planning for our future because we have a future. This is a moment in time, and we get through it. And how do we get through it? We get through it with great leaders like Assemblyman Benson, who's also chair of the Transportation and Independent Authorities Committee, who believes in transportation at its very core and what it can do and how transportation affects communities. Not just giant interstates like the Turnpike or the Parkway or 95 or 295, but how even our smallest communities deserve a high level of service from transportation, and his leadership is key. And when we put all that together, truly, to me, that's the meaning of this week of Thanksgiving. It is the collective efforts of people with different skill sets and different specialties that make us who we are as transportation professionals. And so none of this was in my speech, so forgive me. But to me, listening to this conversation today, listening to what has been raised from the folks that have received awards and presented awards, to me, this is who we are as transportation professionals. We take people to some of their toughest places, to funerals and to the bedside of sick family members. We take them to celebrations. We take them to the most important job interviews or to a child's baseball game or school dance. That's what we do. We give that opportunity to people and never go home at night and believe that what you do is not recognized. We have lots of critics. I'll get to those in a couple minutes, but that's okay. Critics make us better. Critics make us look at what people are thinking and find a way to change their view. And each of you have been recognized as professionals that do that day in and day out. So I may be the commissioner, but big deal. You are the folks who drive this forward every day, whether by plane, by train, by bus, by van, by car. And I hope when you go home tonight, you really look at what you've done and say to yourself, job well done. Job well, have an extra dessert on Thursday, okay? An extra slice of pie. And I have to say, Huntley, I just in awe of your resume and what you've done and how you've accomplished it and how you have followed your dream. And if we can give anything to the young people we're bringing up in this business, help them, each of us, help one of them follow that dream. I know Andy and I work on that a bit with some of his interns. Follow that dream, because these young people, they are our future, no matter how we slice it. We need them to go into transportation. We need them to have passion. We need them to see the value of what we do for one person. I have to tell you, one of the greatest pieces of information I have learned being here, and it's not related to Newark, but it has a relationship. How many of you know that what the South Jersey Transportation Authority does, right? They run the Atlantic City Expressway. Do you know they deliver over 12,000 Meals on Wheels out of their agency through their van service, month in and month out? I never knew that about them. And as chair, when I found out, I was like, we should all do these things. We should find ways to give back, because that's what will bring this country back to a unified group of people whose heart is in front. And without heart, I have to tell you, I don't know what the world is coming to. But we have much reason to look forward and to be engaged, and certainly to celebrate all the work you do. So we congratulate you here at the DOT. We're proud of each and every one of you. Jeremy, certainly, and Lisa, I work with on a day in, day out basis as the chair of their agencies. Again, the rest of you, Assemblyman, Chair, Mary, all part of what we do, and our other awardees, just keep doing what you're doing. Never. Where I have to see her. These Zoom meetings are driving me crazy. There's Clarell. The work you do, keep going, right? Keep going every day. And don't get discouraged. When you do call me, send me an email. I'll perk you right up, because what you do is phenomenal. But in these unprecedented times, it's also important to remember groups like Newark Regional Business Partnership can't be understated. Barbara and her team help keep us together so that new ideas across a wide array of professional fields and information can be shared, particularly at a time when we have needed to find new ways to do our routine work. Despite the challenges we have faced, the New Jersey Department of Transportation has continued our day-to-day business almost without missing a beat. And that is a credit to our staff, to all of our partners, to help us find a way to get the job done, whether it is working at home, sometimes in the office, or in the field. The importance of continuing transportation construction cannot be overstated. Public works projects have always been an essential part of a strong economy and an economic stimulus in a weak economy. And so in fiscal 21, we will deliver an additional $600 million in capital projects, providing a transportation trust fund program of $1.4 billion for DOT, $760 million for New Jersey Transit, and $430 million in local aid funding. The economic impact of this program is substantial. And I have to say, I read an article in this morning's clips being criticized for adding the additional $600 million, both by some legislators who I have great respect for, and some others, and questioning the motive. Well, here's the motive. I've got shovel-ready projects at the DOT. I have the capacity to borrow, and I have a trust fund calculation that keeps me whole year in and year out. And if I can get shovel-ready projects on the street that don't get stale and don't have to go back and be redesigned or refreshed and put people to work, then criticize away. We're going to do an additional $600 million of work, and we're going to keep our system moving. I believe that is the expectation of all New Jerseyans when they look at our transportation network. And that's what I said when I talk about critics. I've never subscribed to the theory of everything having an ulterior motive, and I certainly have never had the need to have an ulterior motive. I have tremendous support coming from Chair Benson, from the Speaker and the Senate President, most importantly from the Governor, who want to see this state continue to advance and know that transportation is at the heart of it. So for every dollar invested, $5 of economic benefit is generated. And for every billion in investment, a minimum of 15,000 jobs are created, direct, indirect, and induced. That creates an overall economic benefit of almost $7 billion and over 20,000 jobs. Delivering such an ambitious capital program requires the collaboration of many stakeholders and partners, all with well-trained staff working together to serve our communities. Last week, I had the privilege of joining Governor Murphy, Mayor Baraka, State Senator Cryan, and officials from the port and our brothers and sisters in labor to discuss the major investments we're making in the Port Newark, Port Elizabeth region. One of those projects is the Route 7 Whitpen Bridge replacement, which will have wider lanes and is higher than the existing bridge, so it will require fewer openings. It also means that bigger ships can come in. This means a safer bridge and less congestion. The new bridge is expected to open next spring. Besides port-related projects, some of the department's largest projects that have recently been completed are currently in construction in the Newark area. Projects like the I-280 Route 21 Interchange Improvement Project. The American Association of State Highway and Transportation Officials recognized that project with the Regional Operations Excellence Award this year. This $95 million federally funded project, thank you, Mary, was a complex urban interchange reconstruction in Newark that provided a fully integrated interchange between I-280 and Route 21. The project was completed in 2019 and is a major undertaking that required developing strong relationships with residents, businesses, and local elected officials, and the usual project stakeholders like the designer, the contractor, and our utility partners. It's a great example of the New Jersey Department of Transportation's commitment to communities, improving safety, reducing congestion, and enhancing pedestrian facilities to make people's lives better. And we're continuing our investment in that area with a pavement preservation project currently underway on Route 21 from the I-80 ramp to Lafayette Avenue. No discussion about projects in Newark would be complete without a mention of the Pulaski Skyway rehabilitation, the project that will go on forever. But we keep at it. As you know, it is being done in multiple contracts, and the portion of the project with the greatest long-term impact, the deck replacement, is complete. In addition to that, we have completed repaving projects on Route 1 and 9 from I-78 North to the Pulaski Skyway, and we are nearing completion of the Newark ramp and the Skyway to Raymond Boulevard. There is still so much work to be done on the Skyway to rehabilitate the ramps, structural members, and the piers, and that work is progressing, not to mention painting it when we're all finished. The Department of Transportation is not alone in investing in the infrastructure in and around Newark. Jeremy could tell you that New Jersey Transit is also advancing major projects to promote prosperity for the city, most notably projects to revitalize Newark Penn Station. A construction contract was recently awarded for the project that will improve platforms at Newark Penn Station and protect the station against potential flooding. Another important project that will not only benefit Newark and its surrounding areas, but the transportation infrastructure generally of the entire state is the New Jersey Transit grid system. Now, many of you have probably read about the transit grid lately. It has been in the news because of our relationship with our environmental partners. And some of you may know the reason that the grid is being built is because we have received a federal grant, a sizable amount, almost $500 million. And it is important for us to be able to keep the train system running in the event we ever have another crisis, the likes of Superstorm Sandy. But it is also key in this time to maintain a focus on social and environmental justice. And this grid would be in an area of our state that could put people at risk. And so transit has, at the urging of many, pivoted to look at other possibilities to run this plant other than a gas-powered plant. And I'm very proud of transit for that. It's a huge pivot. They have a short time in which to get their act got together on this environmental change to make sure our federal partners are comfortable with us. But when we partner, again, where I started, when we partner, when we listen to each other, when we understand societal impacts of what we do, we can only come out with the best project for everyone. And so I say to my team at New Jersey Transit, I'm standing behind you 100%. And we will work through what we need to work through to make sure that this transit grid project delivers train service to all those travelers who need to get where they need to go, but does so in a way that is both environmentally and socially equitable. The New Jersey Turnpike has some important initiatives in the Newark area also. The Turnpike Authority has been rehabilitating bridge decks on the North Bay Hudson County extension between interchanges 14 in Newark and 14C in Jersey City. The work between 14 and 14A is being done in 3 contracts. The first 2 are complete, and the final contract is underway. We are also repairing and resurfacing the concrete on the I-78 approaching the Turnpike at interchange 14, which is a complaint I get pretty regularly. This almost $10 million project is scheduled to be complete in 2022. There's so much that is happening, and anyone who has followed us, I think, can see the capital plans that have been adopted by the Turnpike and by the New Jersey Transit. Despite the challenges this year, all the Department of Transportation, New Jersey Turnpike, and New Jersey Transit have continued to deliver their core mission of providing a modern, safe, and efficient transportation system that benefits our economy and everyone who travels through the state. What makes it possible is the coordination of partnerships with stakeholders in the community. When we work together collaboratively, we are able to improve our communities and the quality of life that people live in and travel through for them. Thank you for your time today. It has been always a great pleasure to be here to listen to all of the wonderful award presentations and all that you have to say. Again, as Commissioner, I'm always humbled to be part of these events. I know that we have some time left. I believe we're going to do some questions, which I'm always happy to do. So I will turn it back to Bernie.
Well, thank you, Commissioner, and well done. Very, very thoughtful, and I like the fact that you brought everybody into the picture that was recognized here today. I think we just have a little bit of time, Commissioner, so try to just get a couple few in, and I'll turn to my colleague, Lisa DiTerrante, for the first question.
I'm going to ask a question about what capital, highway, or rail projects do you see as being the most urgent or ready to receive stimulus-related federal funding, infrastructure funding support? Looking forward to a positive 2021.
Well, I'm looking forward to a positive 2021 as well. And so for me, I really hope that we're able to focus on some rail projects for stimulus money. We have some big rail projects that are ready to go. I'm trying to find Jamie on this screen. He was here somewhere. Jeremy would know just as well as anybody that we have had projects in the pipeline for New Jersey Transit, like Delco, the Midline Loop down in the central part of the state. Certainly Transit Grid is funded. Innovation Challenge, which some of you may remember, it was just about a year ago that we had the Innovation Challenge meeting at the Meadowlands at MetLife, really connecting that whole system, which would be Secaucus Junction to MetLife to American Dream, to me, is phenomenal. And if we can, my vision, our vision, the vision of having folks, whether they want to come from Boston or Washington, hop on a train, get off at Secaucus, get on some type of people mover, whether it be a monorail type, bus rapid transit, whatever it might be, and never use a car to get to an event at MetLife or a shopping day at American Dream, is the vision. And some would say for a DOT commissioner, that's counterintuitive. It's not. We need to balance this whole transportation system. We need to encourage, and it will be hard coming out of 2020, but encourage people to use the mass transit system where they can get on a train and, you know, have a drink and have a snack or read a book before they go watch their favorite concert or their football team, or spend a day shopping at American Dream, and hopefully someday even expand that system out. We look at that as a P3, and so we feel very comfortable that if we were to get stimulus money, we could maybe get that launched. The interesting thing about the stimulus money is we've been told very clearly, it's not so much just about being shovel ready. Is it purposeful shovel ready? What is the catalyst that makes that project most important? So we're going to start doing our homework now, because we hope that in a few months a stimulus program will be announced, and we will have a list of projects from the DOT side ready to go to get those stimulus funds and put them to work. You know, we have an $810 million annual allotment to DOT out of the trust fund. We've added $600 million to get these shovel-ready projects moving, but we also received $150 million of redistributed funds from FHWA. Those are funds that other DOTs across the country could not spend, and so at the end of the year, they kind of gather them up and give them to DOTs that can spend it. And in the last 3 years, we've gotten almost $300 million of redistributed funds. And so we're very proud of that. That is more than we received in the prior 8 years in its entirety. So we've been very focused on grabbing as much money as we can because we have work to do and projects to put in the ground. On the DOT side, you know, there's some projects I would love to see us move on. I would love to be able to see us move on in improvement at Route 9 and Route 35 in South Amboy. Anybody who's ever driven it knows just what a catastrophe that particular intersection is. And if we can get that to a point where we get design build legislation and can move it, then that's a good thing for us. And we're working through the terms of design build legislation for DOT now. So hopefully we have it. So those are just a couple that I would think of off the top of my head, Lisa.
Great, thank you, Commissioner. We may have time for just one or two more. I'll turn to my colleague, Andy Peluri. Andy?
Thank you, Bernie. Commissioner, what inspirational words regarding Thanksgiving. I really appreciate your take on it. My question is regarding funding. I know that you're a big advocate of mileage-based funding versus the tax transportation trust fund to replenish. So my first question is that where do you see that thing go? And the second is that we have seen in the legislation a movement of the design build. When would the Department of Transportation embrace that concept of alternate delivery?
So I'll start with mileage-based user fee. New Jersey is sponsoring phase 4 of the mileage-based user fee study being conducted by what is the former I-95 Corridor Coalition and is now the Transportation Eastern States Coalition. I think that's what we changed our name. So believe it or not, Tennessee and Alabama wanted to join, so we couldn't be the I-95 Corridor Coalition anymore. But for freight purposes, it made a lot of sense to have them join us. Not sure yet, Andy, that I'm a fan of mileage-based user fee. We need the data to see how it would work, right? Because the biggest issue with mileage-based user fee is not like any other regional plan, is how is the money eventually allocated back to the states? I think that there will always be a combination of the gas tax and something else, because as long as we continue to promote electric vehicles, we need a way to collect from them some amount of revenue for their use of the system. So, you know, a lot of folks would say to you, well, why do you do that? Just toll it. Tolling also is kind of like a mileage-based user fee, but there's this group in Washington that hasn't yet decided that we should be able to toll the interstate. So, you know, we have to find other ways. So the goal of the mileage-based user fee is really to collect the data to see if it would work, and if it did work, what it would provide to us, and perhaps how it would be a hybrid solution to funding now, and maybe at some point, you know, the solution to funding transportation. But we will see. I'm going to give you my one factoid for the day. How many of you know how much you pay annually to the Transportation Trust Fund? On average, we pay $30 a month individually to the trust fund. I want you to compare that to your cell phone bill or your cable bill. That's $360 a year. So you pay $360 a year for the use of that entire road network short of the toll roads. And they don't take federal dollars. And so it is a huge bargain for all of us who use it. So keep that in mind. We will embrace design build as quickly as it makes sense to, Andy. We're still working out some of the details on stipends and the number of firms who can participate. And we're working through that with the sponsors of the bill. But I think that I would like to try to launch a design build project very quickly, because I think it'll be important to gain acceptance. And I think it's so successfully used so many other places. I think it'll help alleviate some of the burden of just design bid build going through our pipeline right now.
Awesome, terrific. I think we might be able to sneak in just one question before we close, Commissioner, and I'll turn to my colleague, Ray Dominguez. Ray?
Thank you. Now, understanding the current climate and fiscal constraints, you know, we're excited to hear more about NJDOT's plan for the future in terms of level of investment for new design projects. I know you spoke about shovel ready, but can you speak more about the relative scale and focus of the program as it relates to design projects for 2021 and potential budget constraints?
Yep. So in fiscal 20, we had 95 consultant selections, and it totaled about $148 million of the plan. Fiscal 21 has 146 selections at about $230 million of the plan. So for us, we need to keep the pipeline moving. Back when the Transportation Trust Fund was reauthorized, they kind of cleaned the shelves off here. So we haven't had a lot of shovel-ready projects. We're going to take this group we just developed and get them out on the street. But filling that pipeline will be, incredibly important. And part of filling the pipeline right is also trying to make the pipeline smoother. I mean, I'm sure you all know on the consultant side of the house, we have a very elongated process. And so we are going to try to streamline that a little bit to make projects move a little bit more quickly through the pipeline, not to the detriment of quality, but just making sure we have a constant flow of projects that are coming in, being designed out on the street, and keep that pipeline moving smoothly. And staff augmentation has been beneficial to us in helping that happen.
Thank you.
Oh, that's great. Thank you, Commissioner. And thank you, everybody, for your questions. I think we're going to be a little bit out of time. I know we had a lot more questions for you, Commissioner, but I thought it was awesome. And once again, thank you for all of our award winners. It's been terrific. But now it's the turn to our NRBP leader, and I'd like to turn the floor to Chip Halleck.
Bernie, thank you very much. And thank you, Commissioner, for spending so much of the morning with us this morning, and your eloquent remarks about what we need to do as a larger community to help people, as well as your recognition of the people that we talked about today. So thank you very much for your commitment to the state and for your partnership in moving us all forward. Bernie, I want to thank you too for this morning as MC. You did a great job. You look a little bit too relaxed for me in that attire. I got to be honest, I put a jacket on, I think, for the first time in 9 months this morning, just for this event. And I think, as always with this event, and the Commissioner said it so well, it really is such a great opportunity to just talk about people who contribute so much behind the scenes, unheralded, not looking for credit, but helping us to get where we need to be and our goods where they need to be every day. So I say this every year, I absolutely love this event. Just for those reasons that, again, the Commissioner so eloquently stated. And Bernie, thank you for your leadership as a board member, as well as the chair of our Transportation Council. And to the members of our council, thank you for working with us, and we'll be looking to empanel the council again very shortly to talk about some of the projects that we need to continue to advocate for and move to the top of the list. Certainly Gateway is important, but it's not all about Gateway. Continuing the investment in the airports, getting that pass station to the South Ward here in Newark, keeping New Jersey Transit moving. There's a ton of things that we all need to work on and gather support for, and we want to make sure that the council has a hand in helping us do those things. As Barbara said at the beginning, we wouldn't be in the position to do these events or carry on our business as a Newark Regional Business Partnership without the support of our sponsors. And I'm sorry that Scott Beresford had a little technical difficulty this morning from TD Bank as a series sponsor of the series, but thank you to TD for their year-long partnership with respect to the real estate and transportation series. And thank you to Dewberry, Easy Ride, Gannett Fleming, HNTB, In Group, United Airlines, VHB, and WSP USA for their support this morning. Our supporting organization, the Regional Plan Association, and our media sponsor for all our events, New Jersey Advanced Media. I do want to say a special thank you to Barbara and Maya. Barbara for her leadership year-round with respect to the council, and Maya for all she's been doing for us. And I could hear the claps throughout, and it was great to see. It was very exciting to see all those hands clapping this morning. I'd also thank, behind the scenes between Nikki and Aisha and Charisma and Kim, who, the rest of our staff working every day to try to connect our members to opportunities, people, and information that will help them be more successful. So in what has been, as you all stated, a great challenge to you and the people that you work with, the same has been said for NRBP staff, and I'm truly proud and grateful for all that they've contributed during the course of this year. Finally, our awardees. Listening to these stories is really heartwarming. The Lifetime Achievement Award, and it's been a pleasure working and serving on a board with Mary Ameen for many years, and look forward to her continued leadership. Our Transportation Person of the Year, Huntley, talked about his tenure here on the NRBP board, and it was truly a pleasure to work with such a great leader and have him as part of our team on the board. And knowing all that is going into the airports at this period of time and going forward, there's been multi-billions of dollars spent. There will be more billions of dollars spent, all which is necessary, and at the same time navigating that system through this pandemic. I can't imagine the pressures that have been felt, but how well they've been handled by Huntley and his team, and all of you and all your agencies. So with that, I do want to remind you for December 9th to join us for when we recognize two more leaders, RWJ Barnabas Health CEO Barry Ostrowski and the Mayor of Newark, Ross J. Baraka, for their partnership and leadership throughout the year with this organization, with our holiday networking to follow during that period of time. So with that, certainly as has already been said today, we wish you a very safe and happy Thanksgiving. And as the commissioner said, lend two hands to those who need it. Thank you all very much. We appreciate you. Go safely.
Thank you.